Very good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for your time. For the next 60 minutes or so, we will be talking about operations efficiency readiness and sharing with you some tools and techniques, hopefully to help us to recover and to become competitive. The good news is that this sort of topics can be applied during good times and bad. Before we get into the nitty-gritty details, please allow me to quickly introduce myself and then perhaps get to know you a little bit more as well in a very short few moments. So at the moment, there are about 11 or 12 of us. So this is me. My name is Andrew Chia. Welcome. I've been training and doing consulting work since 1991. This is almost like 29 years. And my specialty is implementation. In other words, I don't only do training, but I do consulting as well, and applying all the soft and hard skills. So soft skills are things like managerial skills, leadership skills. Hard skills are like some of the operational skills that we'll be introducing today, some snapshots of those techniques to share with you today. And the highlight of my career is to actually help a company to become a national champion, National Productivity Award. That company, the size is about 2,000 employees. It's a factory, and they became the champion of Malaysia for the whole of Malaysia. And that's one of my clients that is helping them to become the productivity champion in the country. So that's just a bit of myself applying both hard and soft skills. So today we'll be sharing a lot more on the harder skills, which is the technical part. And so let's hear from you. Maybe you could help me. For those of you who are in operations, as in like, it doesn't matter whether you're from the factory or you're from logistics. The word operation refers to something that you do where the jobs are more or less predictable, and you run warehousing, logistics, banking operations, manufacturing operations, and so on. For those who are in the operations area, as opposed to if you're from accounting or from procurement or from human resource, then you belong to a separate group. So, and for those who are from operations, could you please type 1 in the chat box, please? So just to get to know you a little bit more. Okay, so we have a couple of responses, 3 to be precise. All right, so we have Yoko, and we have Angeline operations, and those who are not from operations, as in the case like if you're from human resource or accounting or procurement, support department. If you could just type 2, that'd be very helpful, please. Fantastic. Richard, Chris, Sunny. Okay. Jin Yan. All right. Thank you so much for your thing. So at least we get to know each other a little bit more. And I have good news for you today. The idea of these techniques for operational recovery can be applied both during good times and bad, as in the case of right now, getting ready for the good times to come, or if we're in good times without the COVID-19 pandemic, getting ready to be more competitive. So that's the wonderful part about this. The second piece of good news, I suppose, is this program is not designed just for the operation team. So I'll be sharing with you some techniques as well if you're from the support department. So today in a very short webinar, we have a combined approach. We have a couple of ideas to help you to run operation more efficiently, as well as if you're from support department, there's some ideas for you as well. So let's get to do that. And in between, we would have some activities as well, because in addition to just myself doing the monologue, so we would love to have some ideas that we can work together. And that will give you a sense of how I would run the actual program somewhere in June, early June. And the way I would run this program is it's not just to share with you the ideas, but there are some areas where you can actually have workshops and applications as well. So we'll do a little bit of that. So let me just start by looking at this matrix, efficiency and effectiveness matrix. And a vertical column, you see things like efficiency, where you have low and a high, and the horizontal axis is you have the effectiveness, which is low and high as well. So when you have a combination of these two, you form it like a 2x2 matrix. So if you have, hopefully we are able to be in this box as far as our organization is concerned. So we have high level of effectiveness and high level of efficiency. So hopefully we are here. And the second box is that if we have high level of effectiveness and low efficiency, maybe we can survive. Okay, so not ideal, but can survive. And if you have low effectiveness and low efficiency, we would die slowly. So I'd like you to type in a box, in your chat box, what happens if we have high level of efficiency and low level of effectiveness in this box? So what do you think that word is or the phrase could be? So if you could just type that in just to get to a little bit of engagement and interaction as well. So low effectiveness, high level of efficiency. Anybody wants to try? So you can see the words in the different boxes. Okay, fantastic. Thank you very much. Frustration, Richard, okay. Grace, Thrive, thank you so much for sharing that. And waste resources, Angeline, thank you. And we have a few more as well, obviously, right? Interestingly, if you have very high level of efficiency, but low effectiveness, we actually have this thing called, we die quickly. So, and this actually links to what Peter Drucker is actually saying. And it's good that we become very efficient, but sometimes there are things that we should not be doing at all. So it gives us a false sense of, efficiencies and productivity and whatnot. So today we'd like to focus some ideas to share so that we can actually help to achieve the green box, which is this one, how to actually do that. So let's take it away and let's talk about objective of operations management. And the idea of operation management is that we like to have the idea to manage operation in such a way that we can actually enhance the efficiency through the proper application of tools and techniques. So in order to increase or improve something, and our focus on the operation management recovery or sustenance is about improving time, cost, and efficiency. And now the idea of improving time efficiency is not to be confused with cutting headcounts or cutting costs just for the sake of cutting. That would perhaps lead us to the box where we said just now, we die quickly. So the whole idea of this is that we can be competitive in good times and in bad times. So that's the whole idea. So throughout the course, we'll be sharing with you some techniques. And hopefully we try not to make it as dry, but a little bit of a level of participation as well, a few tools and techniques. I would begin with the tools and techniques in the operational area first. And then we will shift gear to share with you some ideas in using the tools and techniques in areas which are like support department. So that gives you a sense of balance and it benefits everybody. So, and typically when you talk about improving costs and efficiencies and all these things, and how many of you agree that we need to have a set of systematic tools and techniques to help us, rather than just the ad hoc version? So if you agree with that, give me a thumbs up in the reaction column, agreeing in the sense that we need a systematic approach in order to help us to enhance our level of effectiveness and efficiency. So if you could search for the reaction box tool somewhere at the bottom of the screen, that's an icon, and give it a kind of a thumbs up, as in we can just work through that. Just give an example. Okay, so if you can see this box at the bottom, and you can see a thumbs up on my screen here. So if you can do that, that'll be fantastic. So, and we like to do that as well, systematic way of doing things. Okay, now, the first thing that we would be working through with you, those who are in operations and logistics and everything, with that, there's this technique called scheduling technique, and followed by sequencing and a few others. You know, as a promise, I've shared with you those who are from the support department as well, as in accounting, HR, procurement, etc. All right, so one of the techniques that we start now is the technique called scheduling. As you can see the word on the screen, externally driven is in the case that you deal with external parties. For example, you have customers and you deal with those customers and how you would be able to fulfill their requirements. Your customers may place some orders with you. And here is to look at how we can effectively and efficiently enhance that portion. So that it's called a scheduling technique. So there are many of them. So today we share with you one. And now, before we get to that, so I'm not sure how your organizations work through this. There are many different approaches, and we just look at a few examples, and we focus on the processing time and the due date. So if I could just clarify a little bit, when we are talking about the due date, obviously it's self-explanatory in the sense that customers give you a date, they give you an order, they like you to send this to them by a certain date. So if they like to do it next week, then from today to next week is maybe 5 working days. That's the due date. Processing time is the time for us to process all this. So from the way we do our stuff, and we operate our organizations, and when we package it and we actually send it. So that's the processing time, right? And so it's these two elements that we like to be working with you. Now, when you look into the tools and techniques on scheduling, there are many, as I've said, many different ways of doing that. So one of the first ones is like, you know, some organizations, they adopt the first approach, which is this one: first come, first serve, right? And so the other organizations, they may actually adopt the what we call EDD, as in earliest due date. So first come, first serve is if you have a customer A that places order with you first, followed by another customer B, then you would actually do for A first and then B. So that's first come, first serve. Earliest due date, if the due date is on the 17th of May, and the second customer, the due date is on the 21st of May, then you would do the operation for the 17th of May first, because it is due first. The shipment is due first. So earliest due date. And then you have the SPT, as you can see on the screen here, which is the third portion. SPT, shortest processing time, meaning you have a customer, maybe 2 customers, just to simplify the explanation. Customer A, in order for you to fulfill the requirement, it will take 10 days. And customer B, maybe 14 days. So the one that has the shortest processing time, you would process first. So the shortest processing time. So, and you look at number 2 and number 3, it's not to be confused between these two. And sometimes this may overlap, okay, but not all the time. So you have these two, not to be confused, okay. So one of which is based on due date, the other one is based on how fast you can complete that order. The last one, LS, lead scheduling, is a little bit of mathematics, but it's not too much, is the due date minus processing time. For example, today is 12th of May. So if the due date is 17th of May, then you've got 5 days. If the processing time to complete the whole thing is 3 days, so 5 minus 3, you've got 2. So you arrange that sequentially. Now, so there are 4 separate ways of looking at this. So, and I would like you to maybe type in your chat box to help me to make sense of what you're doing at the moment so that I can cover this more effectively. So for your organization, for those of you who are not sure, that's fine. But if you can help me, can you please tell me which of these 4 is your organization adopting at the moment? Now, this is, when I say at the moment, is typically with or without this COVID-19. So if you could type in FCFS or EDD or SPT or LS, that would be quite helpful for me to think about. So if you could just type that in as you deal with customers. If you're not sure, it's okay, you can ignore the question. But if you are aware, in terms of operations, typically, which one would you adopt? First come, first serve? Or due date first, you do first? Or the fastest one you do first, as in SPT, or a combination of this LS, due date minus processing time? So if you could help me to type in your chat box. So example. So I'm not sure which is which, SPT and then LS. So if you could just help me to type in the chat box. We actually a few EDD, a mixture, LS, fantastic. Thank you. All right. And another question, if you could just maybe type it in, which one do you think is the best? Is it FCFS, EDD, or SPT, or LS? Okay, SPT, LS, Lindsay, thank you. Grace, thank you. It's okay to be unsure, right? And the safest answer, if some of you would want to type that in, is it depends. So LS, okay, great. And as I said earlier, thank you so much for your time, folks, for helping to chip in and taking in this interaction. We have actually mentioned that the tools and techniques is got to be hopefully with a little bit of systems and a little bit of structure and framework for on. And so this is the technique that I would like to share with you. And in order to determine whether first come first serve or EDD or SPT or LS is best, so we like to kind of lay on the context. Yeah. Now the context is how many of you, your organizations, you have no difficulty fulfilling customer orders. No difficulty, please type 1, which means that all of your customers' orders, you are able to deliver on time, 100% on-time delivery. If that is the case, please type 1. So I just type on my screen here. 1 equals 100% on-time delivery. So for those of you who have that, please type 1. If you're not able to do that, please type 2. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. So, so Richard has 1, a couple of you have 2, thank you. And for the case of Richard and anybody or any organizations who achieve 100% on-time delivery, there are 2 things I would like to do. The first thing is that congratulations, 100% on-time delivery is fantastic. And the other thing is, and it's just a paradox, right? If you are able to achieve 100% on-time delivery, maybe your operational system has not been pushed too hard. Or to put it slightly less politely, maybe your business may not be that good. Now, I'm not referring to the current scenario where you have the pandemic scenario. 100% on-time delivery, it's either really, really fantastic, superb, out of this world, or alternatively, we have this thing called the lack of push or perhaps lack of pressure or tension, and as a result of lacking businesses. So that's fine. And for those who are not able to achieve that, and I ask that in the context of if you're able to really do it efficiently, 100% and everything, then we do not need to adopt this technique for the purpose that we don't have to reinvent the wheel. But for those of you who are kind of conflicted, so, and conflicted in the sense that sometimes you're not sure which customer you're going to offend. And I say that in the right spirit. Yeah. So you got quite good businesses, quite a number of customers giving you businesses. And if you wanted to fulfill certain customers' requirements, you may have to say sorry to another customer. I'm so sorry, boss. I'm so sorry, sir. We are not able to deliver to you. Can we extend the delivery time a little bit? If you have that scenario, you might find this helpful a little bit. So let's dive into that. And the whole idea here is that, let's say that you have 5 different customers, A, B, C, D, E. You can see on the screen here. Okay. And you have the respective informations over here. So 5 customer, A, B, C, D, E, and the processing times to complete each and every one of these orders from these customers are laid out. For example, the processing time is this column, 6 days, 2 days, 8 days, and so on. And the due date, if you just count as of today, so as of today, let's say the due date is, okay, today's 12th May. So you add another 8 working days. So, and therefore, the idea of that thing is over here. So that's the due date from the 12th of May. Now, and the question here is that it's asking you, which sequence scheduling rule is the best? Is that first come, first serve? Is that EDD? Is that, SPT or LS? So kind of reflect back the screen a little bit. So Chen Yang say LS, okay. And Lindsay, thank you. Thank you so much. So for this particular example, answer is LS from Grace. So, and coming back to the screen, there are 4 possible things that we can do. And the answer to this question is, we want to have a systematic approach towards this. At first glance, it's kind of difficult to tell because there are 5 different customers' orders, right? And therefore, we got to do something. So Angeline has a combination of EDD and LS. Let's work towards that. And to do that, maybe you can actually work on this. So if you use the first come, first serve, then let's do a bit of this as well. Okay. So let's work together. And first come, first serve. What is the order or the sequence of the customers? So you have 5 customers for A, B, C, D, E. So that will be the sequence for first come, first serve, because you have received customer order from A first, followed by B, C, D, and E. So that's, if you adopt first come, first serve, it would be A, B, C, D, E. All right. Now, if you adopt EDD, which is due date first, so if you could just type on the screen, if based on the due date, what would then be the sequence of this schedule now, out of these 5 possible customers, A, B, C, D, E. So just look at that, obviously focusing on the due date column. The one that is nearest would be B. Okay, that's right. So some of you are quick. B, A, D, C, E. Right, that's right. So B, A, D, C, E. That's true. Now let's do it along the line. What happens if it is like SPT, shortest time you do first? So shortest time you do first. In terms of the sequence, it will be B, followed by D, okay, followed by A, C, E. Okay, thank you so much. That's right, B, D, A, C, E, if you do the SPT. Now, for LS, so LS, if you recall, it's due date minus processing time. So we do that. This column, due date, you minus this. So Chen Yan is correct. It's coincidentally, I've got to emphasize this word, it is also A, B, C, D, E. Okay. And therefore, when you look at this, when you lay out like this systematically, then you would know that which one is best in the context of the, the original question, which scheduling rule is the best. And you can see that first come, first serve would have the same answer as LS, and you have a different answers for EDD and SBT. Now, how to get this done? What we will be doing is to show you the approach that you can scientifically, systematically adopt and manage it accordingly. So what I would be doing is first to clear all this, but I will be working through with you in managing all that. Okay, so let me just clear the drawing first. But this part it's okay because I'll be working with you on the next screen on all this A, B, C, D, E, B, D, A, C, E, A, B, A, D, C, E, and that sort of things. Okay, so let's clear that first and let's work through that. Now, ladies and gentlemen, first you look at the column here, right? Job, processing time, and due date. We're going to insert 2 more columns to help us to run this through. So if you could just look at this column we copy, processing time we copy as well, and then the due date column we copy. So we have the A, B, C, D, E, and that sort of thing. So we copy this, we copy the processing time, and we copy the due date. In the middle, what we do is we're gonna insert this part. So let me just pull the screen up a little bit. Okay. Cumulative time. So we insert the cumulative time here. And ladies and gentlemen, if you look at this, 6 you put here. And because the sequence is A, B, C, D, E, so A will be followed by B. You add another 2 days, it's 8. You add the 8, becomes 16. You add the 3, becomes 19. And you add the 9, becomes 28. Okay. That's the third column that you add on, cumulative time. How many of you, if you need my help, please type a question mark on the screen here, as I'm actually doing now. So if I've confused you, let me know. It's not your fault. If you are confused, just type the question mark, and I'll come back and let you know which one. And at the same time, it's because there are only 11 of us. You can please feel free to unmute your speaker so that you can speak if you find that a little bit more comfortable. All right. So this column so we copy this column, we copy this column, and we copy this column for the sequence A, B, C, D, E, and we add the cumulative column in the middle, and then we finalize with the last one. Okay, so the last column is relatively straightforward. Basically, it's column 3 minus column 4. Okay, this column minus this. All right, for those of you who are quick, you probably know that the first one should be minus 2 over here. Okay, but the idea of the last column that we've just added is about lateness in delivery. The job that the customer is giving you, you will delay. So that's the delay column, right? And so since minus 2, what does minus 2 mean? For those of you who are following this, minus 2 means when you have completed this 6 days, but the due date is 8 days, right? Minus 2 means we are 2 days ahead of time. Angeline is late, but it's actually we are ahead of time because the due date from customer is 8 days, right? Okay, 8 days, right? But by the time we have completed that stuff, because the processing time is 6 days, right? Okay, cumulatively it's still 6 days. Yes, we're early by 2 days. And because we are early by 2 days, the job lateness is 0. All right, so anytime when you minus, if you see a negative number, it's a 0. Okay, so, and we go into the second line, you see the same thing. Okay, 8 minus 6 is 2 days. So this one, you're late by 2 days. Okay, and likewise, 16 minus 18, we are ahead by 2 days again. So that's 0. Likewise, you do the 4 and the 5. Okay, so at this juncture, because we are running this, program, and this is the system part. So today we do the lazy way, as in we do it manually. But once you are okay with that, you can actually put it in your computer system. You can do it very, very fast. But let's learn the system first in order for us to gather this. Okay, so, and from here, you can see that the last thing that we want to do is this portion. You add up the total late days. In this case, it's 11. Okay. And then what you do is you leave it aside. We move to the EDD, which some of you, and in fact, all of you know that, but some of you just typed it in. So EDD, the sequence is BADCE. That's right, Lynn said, we need to look at the cumulative time, as if you say the context that we're in is that if you are able to deliver 100% on-time delivery with no lateness at all, if you can do that all the time, then it's fantastic. You may not need this approach, but you have, if you're conflicted, and in the case that sometimes you do something and then some customers you just could not deliver on time, then that's your answer is correct. You need to take the cumulative time into account because, all operations when you're conflicted, like when you fulfill certain customers' requirements in terms of the delivery, then you may not be able to fulfill the others. So that is the context we are in. Okay. So, and it is quite impossible that for an operation in any organizations to have limitless capacity. Right. So when you have a certain level of capacity, you would have to do something like, okay, I need to say sorry to customer A or B or C, although I can fulfill the others. So it's a matter of decisions. The only thing that we'd like to work on as far as this is concerned, then just answered Lisa's question. Yeah, in the context of actually, yes, we need to take that cum time into consideration, with the understanding that we have a limit in capacity. So now once we sort that out, then we do the same thing, EDD. Same thing, we copy the processing time and the due date, and we do the cum time and the job lateness. So in this case, the job lateness is 6. Okay. So, and please keep the question flowing. Either you can type it in or you can do it verbally by unmuting your mic. That's fine as well. Okay, so finally, again, we go through the same routine. First come, first serve, EDD, SPT, as you can see on the screen now, and the LS. So remember, ladies and gentlemen, it all comes from here, yeah? This screen that we have explained earlier. So once we sorted that out, the system will do this for you. This is the decision. The lowest is the most desirable, meaning what you do is that you would take the late days divided by the number of customers. So in this case, coincidentally, the customer, the total number of them is 5. Okay, so first come, first serve. If you recall, is 11 days lateness total. So 11 days divided by 5, you've got 2.2 over here. Okay, so likewise, you have 6 days for EDD. So 6 days divided by 5 customers and averaging of 1.2. Okay, for SPT is 1.8 and for LS is 2.2. So, and of course, finally, we are able to come to the conclusion. We are able to answer systematically that for this particular set of data example, the answer should be EDD, because EDD is the lowest. Okay. All right. So now EDD means if you are running operation, remember our topic is about managing operations, right? So EDD is following this concept. So you've got to, the answer is BATCE. So so finally, that's what we do. So due date BATCE, which means that when you're running operation, you would allocate your resources to running B first, customer B followed by customer A, customer D, customer C, and customer E. So that is an example of this approach in terms of scheduling technique. All right, so this is one of the operational technique that we have in terms of helping us to manage. All right, so now let's take a pause. I'd like to, because the other things I would like to work through with you, as I promised some of you, is that in addition to this, we would also like to help you to understand managing the other stuff as well in terms of this whole idea, okay? Because what we want to do is not just the operational side, and as I promise you, and for those who are from support department, okay, from support department, what can you do in terms of helping you to do that stuff? So, and so let's go into support department. And to do that, let me share with you some screen as well. So let me just, and there's a question by Lindsay. Would it be true if EDD is the best tool for managing the time delivery? The answer is no. Lindsay, thank you for your question. Appreciate that. We are actually suggesting, for the purpose of what we have, we put the stuff that we have shared just now into the Excel spreadsheet and let the thing run, because sometimes the numbers may change. Okay, so because the concept of this numbering will be impacted by 2 variables. The first variable is the processing time. The second variable is the due date column. Okay, so and if it be good is that we don't try to assume, so we put it in this. And that's what essentially in terms of whether the discipline is operation management, or even in the discipline in things like leadership or many other different topics. It would be very nice if we have a structured approach, or a set of tools and techniques to help us to hopefully use the word systematically manage that. So thank you, Lindsay, for that question. So we kind of run through that first. So taking the variables into considerations. Okay, great. And now for us to look into how do you account, so Lindsay, how do you account for supply chain delay when components get delayed and impact the processing time? Fantastic. So whenever there's a delay, you have problems and everything, what you do is that you add onto the processing time. Okay. So hence, once you are comfortable with this, we put it in the computer system, right? Whether it's Excel or any kind of, you may even have a more the advanced system, as in things like ERP or whatnot. So the delay in supply chain, as in the case of components and etc., you add that into the processing time, because in addition to, instead of say you may need 14 days to complete, because delay takes another 6 days, so it's 14 plus 6 is 20. So make it a little bit dynamic. In truth, most of the organization, how they manage this is the context of supply chain. They actually put it in a contractual base. They put a time fence. So, and that is something that we'll discuss in much more detail on the full day program somewhere in June, early part of June. Thank you, Sonny, Lindsay, for your question. And let's back to the sharing portion. So, and just now, the scheduling techniques that you can see on the screen here, it's actually very helpful for those who are as in logistics, in operations, manufacturing, and so on. But for those who are in support department, we have another tool for enhancing our efficiency, productivity, and so on. And this particular tool, as you can see on the screen here, we just give it the name. It's called the skills matrix, as you can see here. Now, how I use this tool is, maybe I just introduce first. On top of the screen, you see this A, B, C, D, E, right? Okay, so those are just skills, the crucial skills in your particular department. Okay, so for example, in human resource, if you're from HR, if you're from procurement, accounting, you know, whatnot, support department, including Sony's question just now, if you're from supply chain department, what sort of skills are very crucial to that particular department? So we lay out on top the skill set A, B, C, D, E. For example, in procurement, one of the important skills is negotiation. So you put A as negotiation, B as in contract management, blah, blah, blah. In HR, you have recruitment, you have interviewing skills. And then for accounting, you have accounts receivable, general ledger, etc., etc. So those are the skills. And the vertical column is just the name of your staff. Okay, so just want to put up the name just for the sake of that, doing that. And so what you do next is the whole stuff of this thing. So let's do that, and that is the meaning. You put up the meaning of those colors. Okay, so you have yellow, red. Our suggestion is try not to put rainbow colors. Yeah, the 3 will be more or less sufficient. So ladies and gentlemen, when you look at these 3, the key question that we want to do is linking to our topic, operation recovery or operation readiness. So in addition to the actual operation itself, how do we make other departments, including operation, right? HR, accounting, you know, all the support department, how to make it more efficient and ready? So we take a systemic approach as well. So by looking at all these things and overall picture, our quick answer is we are seriously suggesting that you try to reduce the number of red boxes first before considering changing everything into green. Okay, so our approach, our recommended approach is to gradually, step by step, eliminate the red boxes, change the red boxes into yellow. Now, in terms of priority, horizontally, Abeng is the one that needs help the most. Vertically, set D as in Denmark, requires the most help. Okay, skill sets D. Now, between Abeng and skill sets D, which one do you think you should prioritize? So this question is open to all of you. So picture that this is your department. should you focus your effort on helping Bing first, or should you focus on improving skill sets D first? D as in Denmark. So if you could just type your answers, B-E-N-G or D. Okay, spot on, Richard Angelin, that's right. And so if your organization already has this, fantastic. Now, if you haven't, we suggest that you do that, because it is really another area of trying to focus on something in enhancing operations, good times or bad. So got to emphasize on that. Transfer bank. But I tell you, Iris, it may not, bank could be whose fault, maybe HR or the hiring manager's fault, maybe no fault of, it's nobody's fault, because our bank could be maybe a fresh graduate, or, you know, fresh out of school. So, yeah, Grace, yep, that's right. So Steve Jobs dropped out of school, right? Okay, so, and of course, the whole picture that I'd like to paint for you, ladies and gentlemen, is this. How do we apply this to enhance the utilizations, enhance effectiveness, and so on? I just pull out a few examples. Productivity, there are lots of things that you can do. And if I could just go a bit, maybe hopefully not sarcastic, but if you look at this resignation, right? And I'm going to come back to the screen here. Okay. At the moment, if you don't do anything, if Muthu resigns, do you have a problem? I think most, if not all of you, would say yes. Okay. Yes. So you have a problem. But if you look at this, what does most companies do when Muthu resigns? Tell me something that you already know, and let me guess. How many of you in your previous organization, you've seen your bosses begging Muthu to stay by either adding the pay or promoting Muthu and that sort of things? Okay, so we don't hope that people would resign, but our word that we use here is systemic management. So the point is that if you don't have any more red boxes, okay, so if I could just change the screen a little bit. So if you don't have any more red boxes, so we got change to yellow. Okay, so just for the fun of doing this, a systemic approach, you do it gradually, right? Now, you have seen the transformation. And if at this juncture, if Muthu wants to resign, what do? You are in a much better position to manage. That's what we call systematic approach in managing. Whether it's the technical idea, as in scheduling technique, systematic, or the soft skills approach, systematic. So in this case, if Muthu wanted to resign, you say, Muthu, we love you, could you please consider staying? And Muthu say, no, I need to go. Then go, good luck, see you next time. So we want to build our capacity in such a way, our handling of the operation. So, and it's not just resigning, as you can see. I leave the screen here, move on to the next, right? That's what I meant by the fact that your productivity will improve. Okay. And you're not worried about sick leave resulting in slowing down of certain activities, because some people don't know others' job, okay, within the same department. So whether it's holiday leave, resignation, retirements, we don't hate those who are older than us, but we believe from a systemic point of view, it is not a good idea to ask those who have retired to come back. It's not about being cruel, it's about lack of systemic approach. So if you were to ask those who are retired to come back, I'm just guessing. One reason we can, from the empathy part, we want to help our senior citizens to come back to work. Fine, give them meaningful employment, right? Give them the active style. But if your reason is to do that because there's a skills gap, people who have retired and there's no skills, someone who's skillful enough to take over, I think that is a systemic problem. Okay, and similarly, you can use that for succession planning as well. So as you can see, all that, a combination of systems and tools and techniques will help us to manage our portion better from a operational point of view. So, and there are lots of things that we would be able to share. And so the first technique we shared earlier this morning is scheduling. That belongs to the operational, what we call hard skills portion. And so the second one will be applicable to all departments. Doesn't matter you're from operation or you're from accounting or you're from HR and that sort of thing. So you can actually apply this as well. So this is the second technique. All right. So now, how many of you, you'll find this technique helpful? Can we put a yes so far for the couple of ideas that we've shared? Or if any questions, you can type that in as well. So helping for us to get ready, good times or bad, enhance efficiencies, and so on. All right, thank you. Yeah. Once to resign, Ali train. Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, you can use that to train others. So it makes us much more ready, flexible, able to manage the thing well. Okay. So we have time to maybe share one quick idea before we end the day. Okay. You can see on the screen here, how many of you have seen this before? RACI, can I just maybe get you to help me as well? If you've seen this before, RACI. Okay, thank you. Thank you for your feedback. Okay, so I just want to introduce this quickly. This is another area for us to manage the operations better. And I don't even have to work in the organization to make a statement. So if I'm wrong, just let me know. Yeah? Not all employees, not all staff, right? They have the same amount of workload, and in this case, it's workload. So some will be more busy than others. Is that true? But I have to say this in a proper way. Yeah? It's not because people are lazy. It's because, again, lack of system. Okay, thank you, Grace. And some of you have responded. Yeah. So there's unevenness in workload. So again, we like to share with you a quick system to help us to do that as well. So I could just, thank you, Lindsay. And in the case of RACI, I would like quickly to ask you to maybe ignore the definitions in the dictionary first, right? Ignore the definition of dictionary. And the definition of R is this, doing. So we focus on the capital letter, yeah? The capital words. So that's RACI. Okay. So, and you can, if you focus on those things carefully, if you look at this carefully, right? So all these, yeah, RACI, it requires your time. If you're doing something, it will suck some of your time away. If you're accountable, in this case, if you're answerable for something, if something goes wrong, maybe you're in a supervisory or managerial capacity, then you need time. If someone's not sure, they ask you something, you need time. Yep, that's right, Grace. Yeah. And then, sometimes you need to be updated. Kind of, again, take some of your time away. So what I will do is that I'm just, because today is just the quick intro, so I wanted to work with you on this. So the whole idea, I show you something, a system way of doing that, RACI. I have actually, due to part of my consulting work, we have actually had this thing printed out. I just want to show you that the RACI, you can see on top here, This is one of my customers, and I did this for many of your departments. I just pick one department, HR and admin. And this is person A. And if you look at person A, ladies and gentlemen, you can see that the RACI column, quite a lot of them are quite blanks. And I'll show you person B. And the shocking part of person B is that A and B, they are same grade, same level. See what happens to B. Okay, so you can see A and B. Immediately, you know that B will be a lot more busy than A. So coming back to the whole idea of RACI is that we have this tool, TWL, and techniques to actually make the system more efficient by not overloading and burning out someone, and shift some of the stuff on the screen here to the person called A. Now, this is not revenge, by the way. It's not like we hate A and therefore we wanted to do that. So it's a balancing of organizational efficiency. Okay, so this is the technique that we would be working through with you. All right, so you can see that it's a tool. As I said, today we shared with you 3 tools. We attend the full day session, will be a lot more, and a lot more, not just the number of tools, but also the details on how all this can be worked out. And that's the, as I mentioned earlier in the day, all these tools we are really suggesting you can learn all this and apply all that during good time and bad. So sure, that's person B. For one reason or another, this organization, of course, didn't do this until we came in as a consultant to help them. When you don't do this, a lot of the things are, you know, they are left to guessing, yeah. And so because of that, we don't have a visual, vivid picture of what's going on in the departments, right? So therefore, I think this is a great tool to help us to rebalance. So now, you can also do this for different levels. You can see that, yeah, fair distribution and task sharing. You can also do it for different levels of people, right? And so this is another set of tools that we love to work out. Okay, so I want to be respectful of your time. And so before we end, but not everybody is easy to be motivated. That's right. So that will give you a different set of tools from the motivational tools and the managerial skills and that sort of things. And hence, this is a session that I'll be doing next month. It's a full day session of sharing with you not just the tools. Today we share with you 3, but it will be a lot more. Not just number, but also the details as well. And so if you have questions, you can continue to type it in, or you can email the administrator from Aventis. So you can take a screenshot on the screen if you're interested. You get a QR code. I believe there's a discount. So get in touch with Chai Fen. Her email is over here. Or you can don't think they're in office now, so you can't call them. So work from home. So email will be best. So, yep. I would love to spend more time with you. And so thank you so much for your time. And I really appreciate your investment of the time on us. So hopefully you've learned something useful. Thank you so much. Have a very, very good day and be safe. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thanks, Neil. I shouldn't say Neil, Grace and Jen Yang, Angeline, and many others as well.
Thank you, Andrew.
All right. Have a beautiful day. Bye.